I talked with Robert Englund on the set of, you guessed it, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. He goes through 3.5 hours of grueling makeup each day to play Freddy. That's plenty of time to figure out the secret of his success. You look like prosciutto in a way.
Yes. Pizza face, the old Bill Murray joke.
And who's the most terrifying movie nightmare? You'll meet Freddy Krueger face to face.
Then take a walk down Elm Street and visit your favorite neighborhood friend, Freddy.
Who do you suppose is the most feared and despised person in movies? Well, it's not Siskel or Ebert, but it might be the loathsome, scary Freddy Krueger. And who, you might ask, is Freddy Krueger? Well, any kid standing in line at the local mall Cineplex can tell you, but only Evening Magazine's Mike Jarek had the courage to face the scarred one face to face.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. You know how it goes. We've all done it since we were wee little kids. Here's something that I never seen online before. I don't think anybody's ever really seen. Here's Robert Englund giving an interview in the full Freddy makeup during Part 4. He's done bits and pieces of interviews in the makeup, but I think this is something that's never been online before. Could be wrong, because everything he's ever done has been somewhere. Anyways, that'll be kind of cool to check it out. And I've added some goodies at the end. Let's check it out.
Freddy's home.
You may not know who Freddy Krueger is, but your kids do. Collectively, teens have spent over $103 million to see this razor-clawed boogeyman in 3 Nightmare on Elm Street films. In Nightmare 1, he plucked a sleeping victim out of her bathtub. In Nightmare number 2, he took a whole school bus filled with teens to purgatory. In Nightmare 3, he did away with a teen drug addict using hypodermic fingers. It's stuff that gets under kids' skins. And we were out to find out why.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Day number 24.
I talked with Robert Englund on the set of, you guessed it, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. He goes through 3.5 hours of grueling makeup each day to play Freddy. That's plenty of time to figure out the secret of his success. You look like prosciutto in a way.
Yes. Pizza face, the old Bill Murray joke. Yeah.
Robert sees Freddy as the bad boy in class. Kids don't look up to him, but they sure talk about him.
Freddy is subversive. Freddy is an anarchist. Freddy represented a kind of a punk sensibility. You know, he's out there kicking butt in Elm Street. What is Elm Street? Look, Dick, Spot, Jane, here comes Father walking down Elm Street. It's about as white bread as you can get. And Freddy's out there, and he is evil personified, and he is infecting it, you know? And so it's the evil that we all tried to avoid with our white picket fences and our dogs and our Saab turbos and our Cuisinarts, but you can't turn your back on it.
Pretty cerebral for a monster, huh?
What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
There have been other bad boy monsters, but few as clever as Freddy, and few cast in, dare we say it, such intellectual settings.
What the hell are dreams, anyway?
Mysteries. Incredible body hocus-pocus.
See, Freddy only exists in the dreams, well, the nightmares of his victims. Robert says that's an idea the Europeans love.
They can't make horror as well as we do, and so they think horror is a particularly American art form, sort of like Motown and things like that they really love. So I get a lot of respect. I mean, I've done French talk shows, you know, with intellectuals sitting around in turtlenecks, you know, smoking brown cigarettes, you know, and talking about the Freudian ramifications of Freddy Krueger, you know, and I love it. You know, I'm sitting there like I'm, you know, at the Cannes Film Festival and getting all this respect. It's great.
What I like about Robert and what makes him work so well in his character, he doesn't treat it as a job. He doesn't treat it as a paycheck. He treats it as an actual acting role. He's not hamming it up, even though there are some laughters. He's taking it very seriously. He's putting in a full effort. And look at his eyes. His eyes kind of pierce through. of like Michael Keaton as Batman. Those eyes just kind of pierce through. It was like Kevin Peter Hall when he played Harry and the Hendersons. Their eyes just sort of come through, and you can tell that they're having fun. They're in a fantasy world, but they're taking it for real. They're not hamming it up. It's like Shakespeare. Well, maybe not that critical of a level, but you get what I'm saying.
The idea of a dream monster who plays on adolescent insecurities was actually the brainchild of a former humanities teacher turned filmmaker named Wes Craven.
I kind of expected it to be Charlie Manson or somebody, but here was this wonderful, articulate, bright guy with a real dark sense of humor, and I really hit it off with him right away.
Wes isn't involved in Part 4, but the promised gross-outs will do justice to his original vision. A transformation from girl to roach, a bloody tour of Freddy's insides, and most horrible of all, a rapping theme song from the Fat Boys could make this new nightmare the most successful of them all. But for Robert, who is now billed above the title and shares in the Nightmare 4 profits, being Freddy has a downside. For one thing, he has to live with all those jokes.
I used to get kids calling me up and adding their own lyrics and choruses to the 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, 3, 4, shut the door, 5, 6, grab your crucifix number.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
You know, and I didn't want to do that snob thing of being unlisted, but about the 25th time that, you know, I got 1920, Freddy's not so funny at 4 in the morning, you know, I went, he cut me some slack, buckaroo.
It's the price one pays for playing the current king of the monsters. For Robert, it's just another phase in the career of a character actor.
I figure that I'm going to be sitting with my kid in 10 or 15 years watching The Late Show, and I'll just tell my kid, yeah, that's what your old man was doing in the 80s.
And maybe the 90s. Or as the new ad for Nightmare 4 puts it,
There's a saying they have on Elm Street. One good nightmare deserves another.
and another, and another, and another, till someone or something unseats Freddy as the heavy metal nightmare at the very top of the body heap.
The following is a local promo for Channel 49 out of Portland. That year they had a Halloween Nightmare, which was a special on Freddy and the Nightmare series, looking at the iconic status of the whole thing. So I'm going to include another interview with Robert in the makeup. I'm going to look and see if this special is not online anywhere. I'm probably going to post the entire thing, but I just want to double check. But for now, here's a sneak peek.
Just when you thought it was safe to fall asleep, Freddy Krueger is back in a 1-hour special, Elm Street, a Halloween Nightmare. We'll take you behind the scenes on the filming of A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and expose the secrets of those incredible special effects. So join us right here, because Halloween was never this scary until now.
Monday at 10.
What you have to remember is if you let an audience laugh in a horror film, it's much easier to take them through the whole process, setting them up to scare them again. And so that's an advantage you have. The other advantage is it's a double pun on the form. In other words, Freddy is a pop cultural phenomenon now. He's a popular culture icon. And if Freddy does a Clint Eastwood line or a Stallone line or a Pee Wee Herman line or something we've all heard on commercials or Welcome to Prime Time or something, it just reinforces that Freddy is this sort of asterisk of the culture, because he's using the culture and throwing it right back.
Welcome to Wonderland, Alice.
One thing that is no laughing matter is the horrifying face of Mr. Krueger. Robert Englund, minus the famous makeup, talked about the original concept of Freddy's look.
When it was originally designed, David Miller, on the original design in Part 1, worked on it. We wanted just half of the face destroyed by burn tissue. And then the powers to be at New Line and Wes Craven, they felt that it should be the whole face. But we wanted a melted look, and we wanted a bit of evocation of a witch. And there was an old 40s paperback book, The Shadow, Who Knows What Evil Lurks in the Heart of Men. And we based some of it on that look a little bit.
The original makeup design by Dennis Miller and modified by Kevin Yeager was applied to Englund in Nightmare 4 by Howard Berger, who whose toughest challenge was in trying to keep Robert still for the 3-hour process.
The first thing I do is to get Robert in here and get him to sit still. That's the hardest part of the makeup. He's really wonderful to work with. He's so much fun, and he's so patient every day to have that makeup on. His head is totally covered. There's none of his real skin showing at all, anywhere.
The long, tedious task of Robert's transformation into Freddy Krueger begins with the application of a latex bald cap covering Robert's hair. This is necessary because all of the pre-made foam and latex skin-like pieces must be glued to cover Robert's entire head, face, and neck. The process works like a jigsaw puzzle. To create that puzzle, Robert has to have his entire head cast in plaster, which is then used to create the various pieces.
It's a rubber called foam latex, and there's 5 different chemicals that have to be mixed up in like a mix master, and we inject it into these molds. And what Kevin did is he sculpted each piece and took plaster negatives off the clay sculptures and puts foam in them, and put Robert's positive of whatever, let's say his forehead, into the negative plaster mold, and bake it at like 3.5 hours at 200 degrees. And we pop them out. They're all the pieces are pre-painted, which means they're painted back at the studio, and I bring them to set every day.
Howard Berger's next step is to apply the first piece of the puzzle, which is the back portion of the head and neck. Next, the ears and left side of the face is applied. Notice how even the fine details of the ear fit perfectly. And then the right side is fitted into place. Then the rest of the face is filled out with the chin piece, nose, and upper lip. And the final piece, the forehead. Finally, additional makeup is applied to achieve the desired look for the camera.
By Friday, I've been in the makeup. If I've been in the makeup 12 hours a day to 15 hours a day for 4 days, with only a night's sleep in between, I'm raw. So I'm really raw, and I start to break out the corner of my eyes where it glues into the corner of my eyes. I can barely touch there. If I just touch with the warmth of my finger now, it stings. So I have to psych myself up to put it on. But once it's on and the tingling goes away from the glue drying, I'm okay for the rest of the day, except for the heat.
I actually do Jason at Halloween, so I have an idea of what glue and all this does to you. You know, your hands, the head, the neck. Just, oh.
Really?
However, there was one time Englund made the mistake of wearing the makeup in public.
And I was starving for some real food one day and worked about a 10-hour day, and we went across the street to this Thai restaurant that's been there for years, and we all figured it was like really good food and everything. It's next to a dog and cat hospital. That's always a bad sign for a Thai restaurant, but we all figured, because, you know, all the neighborhood is movies, studios and stuff, that, you know, I'd been there. And I went across the street, and we walked in, and everybody's used to Robert now in the makeup, all the guys on the crew. We walked in, and it was like this guy who just got off the boat with his green card from Cambodia or Vietnam, and we scared him to death. I mean, literally, the tray and all the plates went up in the air. The guy turned white. He ran in the back. I mean, the doors went waka, 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 you know, and he never came out again.
You know what Mel Gibson, Hamlet said? To die, to sleep, perchance, to dream.
That's great. Like I said, I'm going to check and see if this special is online anywhere. If not, I will post the entire thing. I just don't want to post stuff that everybody else has been posting. Trying to be as original as possible. But everything I have in my collection, I'm going through and putting up as much as I can. It's only so many hours of the day. But trust me, there will be more Freddy Krueger and Nightmare stuff coming up. Stay tuned.